For those of you who need to learn to put the corset on by yourself, these would be some simple directions. First of all, look at the back of your corset. You'll notice that the loops that tie the corset together are in the very center. This is what we refer to as bidirectional. You have 3 sets of cross X's above the loop, 3 sets below. This allows you to tighten the top and leave the bottom looser, or vice versa. But you want the loops to be dead center. To put on your corset, open it up the full length. You want to extend it where you have no slack. It helps to fan the corset out so that you have a little wider area at the top than at the bottom. This is because the rib cage is usually the larger part of your abdomen. On the laced corsets, the tag should be at the top. Once you have it extended, you'll put this around yourself. And make sure that you have it centered. It's hard to move the corset once you've tightened it. When your corset's new, you'll have to work with the front closure, the busk, to make it work correctly. But after it's your corset, then it should go together very simply. It should pop right together because it has molded to your body. Make sure that you have all of the fasteners closed. If you need to, pull the corset down a little bit to settle it. Then, get in front of a mirror so that you can see. Look in the mirror to find those center loops. Pull them to start as much as you possibly can. You want to be able to hold it with one hand in front, but if you can't right at the beginning, hold it behind your back, and as soon as you've pulled enough, switch to where you can hold it in front. Again, looking in the mirror, you'll get your first outside X. Now you can start at the bottom or at the top. I prefer the bottom, but if you are larger breasted, you may need to start at the top to set this in place so it doesn't ride up. I get the first outside X. I use the underhanded position. Some people will use their thumb, but this is a little more difficult. If you'll practice underhanded, it should work better for you. I'm going to pull as much as I can underhanded. Then the secret is to let go of the index finger. Don't reach up through. That won't work. You have to let the index finger come out completely free. Find your next outside X. In other words, the X that goes under the edge of the corset can be ignored. You do not need to pull those. It's more work. So get your next outside X. As I pull, I let go of the other one. Again, look in the mirror. Get your next outside X. Pull. At this point, take up the slack with the other hand. Repeat this process at least one more time. Starting at the bottom, pulling, reaching up, getting your next set, reaching up, get your next set, taking up the slack with the front hand. If you still don't have it tight enough, repeat again. At this point, I switch hands, but not everyone has to. Now I'm going to pull from the top. I need the first outside X. Then I'll reach down and get my next outside X. Reach down for the final outside X. Then pull the slack with the front hand. Repeat that. Remember that you never want to get the corset so tight that you cannot get a full, complete breath. When you think you have this tight enough, take a deep breath. If you can't fully extend your lungs, then let it out a little bit. We don't want to go to that extreme. When you think you have it tight enough, you're going to tie this behind your back in a bow. I always give one extra little yank right in the center It's going to let out a little as you go, so give that extra yank to help pull in the hourglass shape. You should have a full opening all the way down the back. If you can pull your corset completely closed, you need to change to a smaller size. You need some area to be able to pull it tight. You should have, when it's fully pulled in, a pretty curve with a flare to the hip and to the bust. Try this and practice it 2 or 3 times so you get the hang of it. Then you should be able to put the corset on by yourself in just a few minutes.